Good afternoon, everyone. Today's Thursday, December the 6th. It is a bit after 4 p.m. We had quite an interesting day. I sort of want to go through everything with the targets that we have in the early part of the morning. I want to remind you a little bit about what we are looking at when we see a chart come in and break a support zone that I have. I've marked our areas where I wanted us to go short or long, and we can see how well these levels held on both sides of the equation in the space. But we did get stopped out the first time we went through this 2652. Your thought should be the following. If you go into the space, get your first target, and then it begins to bounce again, your thought must be, wait a second, let me see if this is going to reverse. How do we look at that? We look at 30-minute slope. To see the location and the slope, we are underneath the moving average. We look for the slope and location of the SMI. We are in negative trending territory. So the bounce is going to give us sell zones, and that's exactly what we had. We had bounces that faded, and then we got ourselves a short. We were able to take some profit out, but if you didn't and you held on, it stopped out using the 16 ticks, and then it moved right back into the space. A very, very big trade. We can see that we had two opportunities to go short here. The first pass losing the level at the open, the test of the first couple of targets to the downside, and then the bounce up and then the fade. Remember, if it looks at the 30-minute, you fade and then you bounce. Wait for it to make lower highs. Confirm that you're underneath the 30 in the low trending areas of the SMI and you're able to take it short again. So we got all of this walking it straight down into targets. 2627, I believe, was the last one that we had in that space. It might have been a little bit higher depending on what I was looking at. I can't quite remember those zones, but I did believe that we would have a bounce today. And so I was very surprised by the fade that did not catch a bounce in formation. Notice again, here's the shoulder event, here's the head, and then there's the face of the other shoulder that allows us to move into the next space. But a lot of different ways to go long and do well, a lot of different ways to go short and do well. Excellent returns today. Notice this one. First time going through the pardon me, going through the line. It did trigger there and then immediately stopped out. So the short trade is going to show a negative traction on it. So what do? You wait. If you're looking for a short again, you've got to make lower lows and lower highs, or at the very least, lower lows before you come back into the space. It did not do that. What are the two things we see? Inflecting moving averages turning upwards, and we also see the SMI moving upwards. It tells us, listen, the better bet is to watch for the stabilization. 6719 was our trigger event. We went all the way back up to here and filled, absolutely reversed that zone right there. Now look at the volume profile sitting in relative congestion. Did it fill a gap? You betcha. So tomorrow, probably going to see a little bit of a fade there. It's going to be very, very choppy here, folks. This is not a space for us to sell breakdowns and hold them or to buy breakouts and hold them. It's a trade of level to level. Let's get to the YM. The YM also gave us a good shot at moving down into the short, giving us a good opportunity. Again, the first time we get this space, it does pop up, stop us out, but underneath the moving average, SMI pegged way low, we know that we can come back in and take that level. It stair steps right. My bottom target, my low target on the day was 24,270. It went to 24,256. That's a pretty good target space to get that within 17 ticks. Brings us into the edge. We fade down. As soon as it starts losing the last area that we came into, we know we have to take a target, and then we get to do it on the other side. So we had, again, some excellent trading formations today. Really good looking stuff. All right, taking a look at oil. This was our breakdown area. We can see certainly that if we take it into our first targets, we're in great shape at 50.40. And then it moves all the way up. So if you didn't take your profit off at the target when you saw it lifting, you're going to lose a little bit on there. So you've got to think this sort of thing through. What it does is head all the way back down. My mid-range target was 50.08. It came in there on the nose and then began to bounce. Another opportunity for moving in twice into this short, and now it's sitting in the middle of congestion. Gold broke out, gave us our first target of 1249.20. It breached it and then began to fade. That tells us that we know we're supposed to take profit. What is the slope of our motion? It was down and then up. When you've got upward motion and downward motion and then upward motion again, you know you're range bound. If you've got your SMI near the zero line, you know you're going to reject your highs and fade right back into the space. About 5 minutes before uh, the market shut down here in the space, actually before 3 o'clock, it did lose that short edge and recover. So that is going to give us negative drift from a reversal perspective in the chart. So that really is a trade that's going to trigger a little bit of a loss here, but we got the gains up here. Some of you might go, wow, why don't you trade in between this space for no man's land? When we're intraday trading together, certainly in the trading room, we do pick levels off these areas. But if you're just reading the levels in something like, the Stock Twits program or anything else, what you're doing is looking at these edges for further continuation and making sure you're taking profits at your targets, or at least making sure you're sitting in a profile that's going to allow that to happen. All right, good luck. We'll see what tomorrow looks like. Just wanted to give you an update on the day. Overall, the markets are very, very volatile. We've got giant whipsaws in either direction. That's great for trading profits, not really awesome for investing mindsets. And so, what we have to do when we want to invest in that space is look for value based opportunities. All right, see you tomorrow.